5 pounds of strawberries I've collected from the yard in about the last week and a half. I'm going to go through my process and how I prepare strawberry jam. So in addition to strawberries, I'm going to need sugar, brown sugar, lemon juice, butter, pectin, rosemary, thyme. And I'm going to preserve this jam, so I'm going to need to use my canning system. Let's get into step 1. The first thing I'm doing is I'm cleaning the strawberries and removing the tops. It's really as simple as running them under some cold water. Use my hand to brush off whatever's on the strawberries that I don't want on them. I'm using my fingernails to remove the tops. There's a little bit of fruit that comes off on each top, so I'm going to keep those in my refrigerator and use those as I collect more strawberries to make some strawberry vinegar. Let's move on to the next step. 5 pounds of strawberries is going to give me about 12 cups. In order to more accurately measure them, and also it'll help with the mashing stage, I'm going to go ahead and dice the strawberries. You can see in the picture here, there's a quart measuring cup here, which is 4 cups. I'm going to fill that 3 times and put them in my pot and get ready to mash. If you can mash a potato, you can certainly mash some strawberries. That's all I'm doing here is I'm using my potato masher. Any kind of flat surface basically will work. If you don't have a potato masher, you can certainly use a fork. I'll demonstrate that briefly. But yeah, you're just going to add your 4 cups at a time, and as you layer the strawberries, you're just going to continue mashing. I mentioned earlier I was going to do some canning. I've been canning for about 4 seasons. What I'm showing you here is my Bible, basically. It's Better Homes and Gardens, complete canning guide. I'm not going to go into great detail, but I'm going to just show you some of the things I do. I use a boiling water bath as part of my canning process. My canner is basically a big pot. I'm going to fill that up with water and get that on the stovetop so I can get it working towards a boil while I'm cooking my jam, and that'll save me some time when I'm done with the cook. I'm ready to start cooking the mixture. So basically what you're looking at here is all my mashed strawberries. I already have some pectin in the pot, and now I'm adding some butter. Quick note on pectin, I'm using the powdered variety, low sugar, just because my recipe is low sugar. It also comes in a gel. I prefer the powder, it's just personal preference. You can pick pectin up at your grocery store. It's usually in the baking aisle, and it basically acts as a thickening agent to get your jam in the consistency that you're used to. Back to adding ingredients. So in addition to the butter, I'm going to go ahead and add some lemon juice at this time. I'm going to call lemon juice an optional item. I see a lot of recipes out there that don't use it. I just think in general, lemon juice enhances flavor. It adds something, so that's why I use it. You can see I have the mixture under heat now. Just doing some stirring. There'll be a lot of stirring, pretty much constant stirring as I'm working the mixture towards a boil. Getting ready to add the sugar. More cooking, more stirring. Get ready to add the sugar. Add the jam under heat for about 10 to 12 minutes. And like I said, just constant stirring. Every once in a while I'll stop just to see if I'm starting to build up any bubbles. Little taste, that's just more out of curiosity. I want to see what the mixture tastes like before I add the sugar. More stirring. Just working your mixture towards a boil. My concoction's at a boil now. You can see the bubbles, that's kind of the telltale sign. Note the color. I find it interesting how it changes when the sugar's added to the mixture. Sugar's going in. You'll see as I add the sugar, it starts to dissolve. More bubbling in the mixture, and the color will start to change like I was talking about. Gets more of a syrupy look to it. It starts to look a bit more like what you'd expect jam to look like. On the sugar, I'm using a half and half mixture of brown sugar and white sugar. Most recipes you'll see, they'll just call for white sugar. I just like the way brown sugar tastes and how it looks, so that's what I use. And also on the sugar, I'm calling this a low sugar recipe. I do think the sugar is important from a perspective of making the jam taste and look how you're used to jam being. But I don't like a super sweet jam, so I basically cut the sugar in half of what you'll see in most recipes. I mentioned I'm not super into sweet, but I do like savory flavors, so I put thyme in my jam. Also, this year I have a lot of rosemary in the garden, so I'm using that. In years past, I've used basil, but I just don't have a lot of basil right now. So here I am chopping up the herbs. You can see the jam at this point is off the heat, and I always put this mixture in last just because, not so much the rosemary, but the thyme, the leaves will brown a little bit if they get under too much heat. So I'm just gonna stir that in, and we won't have any browning, and we're retaining that dark red color. So I'm gonna start filling my jars while my mixture's still hot, or the jam's still hot. And I like to use wide mouth jars just because it's easier with my ladle to get the jam in there. Just I will get a little bit of jam on the outside of the jar, so I'm just cleaning those off real quick before it goes in the canner. And here we are, we got the water's almost at a boil in the canner, so I'm dropping those in, and then I'm gonna start a clock once I'm totally at a boil that for about 5 minutes, and then this is what we end up with. And it's just some jam ready to be stored, ready to be eaten at my leisure. So quick recap of the recipe and the steps I followed to make the jam on a couple slides. Be scrolling by. Then we'll have some video of putting the jam on a piece of toast just so you can see what it looks like as the finished product. Thanks for watching. So in the frame now, you're seeing my jam there in the center. Obviously, you got some melted butter ready to go. It's currently my favorite butter. It's called Hartzler's rolled butter, and then my go-to bread all toasted up. So let's get this going. Do yourself a favor, always use butter. It just tastes so much better than margarine. So you can kind of see the consistency of the jam when it's in the jar. Get it on the bread. Spread that around. Let's see how it tastes. Full taste test. Taste test complete. Certified good. Make a strawberry jam.